Severe weather on the South Plains has taken over the airwaves and social media every night for almost a week, and it looks like that may not be stopping soon. MCTV weather specialist Kennedy Schmidt has the details on the outbreak of storms and what you need to know if you have any outdoor plans.
The Texas Tech softball team is still celebrating after one of the biggest weekends in program history. MCTV's Nathan Boles has the details on the significance of their most recent series and why this may not be the last entry the team makes in the history books this year.
And the weather may have changed the schedule for many local events last week, but there were still several options available across the Lubbock area. Find out how students could find some new greenery for their room, compete in a basketball tournament, or play a role in one of Tech's longest-running traditions.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Luke Johnson.
And I'm Reese Griffin. The West Texas weather has been very active since early last week. Chances for thunderstorms have been in the forecast every day since last Tuesday.
But it's not just been thunder and lightning that have been the concern. Severe weather has also affected our area each evening, making this one of the longest outbreaks of storms in recent memory. MCTV's weather specialist Kennedy Schmidt joins us now in the Weather Center with a first look of the impacts on the storms. Kennedy?
It's looking much better outside today in Lubbock compared to our last 4 days of severe weather. We'll look at our rainfall totals from the last couple of days. West of Lubbock, they got up to 6 to 7 inches of rain. Going up north to Turkey and Childress, they got up to 5 inches of rain. And here in Lubbock, we got half an inch to an inch of rain. We also saw some hail in Floydada. They got up to grapefruit-sized hail. And here in Lubbock, we had $half-dollar-sized hail. Definitely the rain across the region is good for our drought weather and agriculture, but we did see some crazy risks with our tornadoes. Our average tornadoes per month in the month of March would be 9 to 10 tornadoes. Going into April across the region of Texas, we'd be greater than 10 tornadoes. In our specific region, we got 12 tornadoes in the last 4 days, so that is a lot of tornadoes that we've been seeing. Later on in the forecast, we'll be talking about our risk for today and later on in the rest of the week. Back to you.
Thanks, Kennedy. The weather may have taken over the local headlines through most of last week, but on Saturday night, it was a group of Red Raiders who got the most attention here on campus. MCTV Sports' Nathan Boles joins us now with details on a win for the history books. Nathan.
Thanks, Reese. Less than a year ago, Texas Tech softball had no head coach after Craig Snyder resigned to take an assistant job at Tennessee. Now in Jerry Glasgow's first year leading the Red Raiders, Tech softball has won the Big 12 for the first time ever. After rescheduling due to the weather on Friday, the Red Raiders won both games in a doubleheader Saturday against Arizona State to clinch sole possession of the Big 12 title. It was fitting that Demi Elder, who is the only player at Tech to have seen all of the last 3 head coaches, hit the run rule walk-off homer in Game 1 to clinch at least his share of the Big 12 title. And then Game 2 made them stand alone. Coming up, I'll have highlights of each game plus some other news from the rest of Texas Tech sports. Back to you, Reese.
Thanks, Nathan. As we've mentioned, the weather played a big role in the past weekend's schedule of events. Some events were rescheduled and some canceled, but there were a few that continued with alternate plans to keep attendees dry. On Saturday, the Lubbock Memorial Arboretum Foundation held their annual plant sale. Members of the group had dozens of options available, including flowers, succulents, and other forms of decorative plants. The sale started at 9 a.m. and finished up at 11, with all proceeds supporting the Lubbock Arboretum, located a couple miles south of campus on University Avenue. The Arboretum's 93-acre facility located on the west side of Clapp Park. The Arboretum is open to the public and includes a 1-mile walking trail, picnic tables, and event facilities that are available for rent. The Lubbock Memorial Arboretum Foundation is a nonprofit group that maintains the facility. The annual plant sale was originally scheduled as part of a full day of events at the Arboretum, with the Seed and Stem Festival scheduled to start directly following the sale. But due to the rain, the Seed and Stem Festival was rescheduled to Saturday, May 24th. For more information on the Lubbock Arboretum, including visitor policies and a list of events, visit lubbockarboretum.org.
Most of the other events that did not get canceled on Saturday were already scheduled to happen indoors, including one annual fundraiser that is helping some of Lubbock's youngest residents fight a devastating disease. Texas Tech students joined dozens of local residents for a special 3-on-3 basketball tournament on Saturday at a local high school. The Kennedy's Kicks for Life fundraising tournament was held at the Lubbock Christian High School gymnasium starting at 9 a.m. The event was hosted by the TTU Hispanic Student Society to benefit Kennedy's Kicks for Life, a local charity that helps children battling cancer. The foundation is named in honor of Kennedy Diaz, a teenager from Sundown who died of neuroendocrine cancer tumors at age 16 in 2023. Since then, her family has used the KK4L Foundation to raise funds to purchase specialty athletic shoes that are given to local cancer patients. The shoes are a symbol of Kennedy's walk through her life, her cancer journey, and her daily walk in her faith with God. Competitors in Saturday's tournament could register a team for $40 with the chance to win prizes. Attendees could also buy raffle tickets for several other prizes, including a Patrick Mahomes jersey. If you didn't make it out to Saturday's tournament but are still interested in donating to the foundation, visit kennedyskicksforlife.org.
Here in Lubbock, the recent storm system didn't affect many event activities until Saturday, so luckily that left enough time for the university to celebrate one of the longest running traditions on campus. The 2025 edition of Arbor Day kicked off at 11 a.m. on Friday in Memorial Circle. Students had the chance to stop by and enjoy free food, grab a free t-shirt, enjoy live music, and even play some lawn games. Once the event wrapped up at Memorial Circle, members of various Texas Tech organizations, departments, and groups headed out to plant flowers and other greenery across campus. Volunteers could be spotted working in planters from the Broadway entrance to buildings on every side of the university. Arbor Day is one of Texas Tech's longest-running traditions, taking place almost every spring since 1937. The event is organized by the Student Activities Board and is always free for any student with an ID. Arbor Day wrapped up Friday afternoon after planning was finished, but SAB still has a couple more fun and free events on their calendar before the end of the semester. To check out the remaining list of events and activities, visit sab.ttu.edu and click on the activity calendar link near the bottom of the page.
The storm system that has been hanging around the Lubbock area may have put a damper on this past weekend's events, but there's still a lot more on the calendar with the end of the semester just over 2 weeks away.
So do you need to expect more cancellations or schedule changes as we head into the last full week of classes? Kennedy Schmidt joins us again with a look at this week's MCTV forecast. Kennedy?
Past couple of days, we've been seeing some rainy and severe weather. As we look at our tower cam right now, it's pretty cloudy but a little dry, but that will be changing as we look into our forecast for this week. Looking at our severe risk categories, we have a marginal risk here today in Lubbock with some isolated thunderstorms, potential for high winds and hail up to 1 inch. But we look into eastern regions of the South Plains, they're in an enhanced risk, so they could have the potential for numerous persistent thunderstorms with high winds and potential for large hail and maybe a few tornadoes. As we look into for our Lubbock region risk, our risk will be higher for tomorrow. As we see, we're in the slight risk, so that might be our chance to have our high winds and large hail. As we look at our futurecast radar, we can see these storms popping up at about 2 p.m. on Tuesday. As we go throughout Tuesday, we see that line of storms build up in the eastern region, so that will be our potential for the highest severe risk for Tuesday. As we go later into Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning, we see the rain potential come back for showers, and as we go through Wednesday morning, we have the potential for rain across the board, some isolated thunderstorms. For our rainfall totals, we definitely won't have as much as we got in the last couple of days. Here in Lubbock, we could get up to 1/100 of an inch, but in areas in the north like Turkey and Childress, they could be getting up to 3 inches after seeing the 5 inches that they saw in the past couple of days. Tonight here in Lubbock, we have a low of 62 degrees, mostly cloudy with winds south-southeast at 9 miles per hour. And going into tomorrow, we have a high of 72, partly cloudy with PM showers in the afternoon, winds east at 17 miles per hour. As we look at our 3-day forecast, we definitely have those PM showers on Wednesday with a high of 75. Going into Thursday, that rain clears out and we'll have a high of 88. For the rest of the week, on Friday, it will be mostly cloudy with a high of 72, and those rain showers come back on Saturday with a high of 72. Sunday, isolated showers with a high of 78, and Monday, scattered showers with a high of 74. So as we see this rain come back at the board, just make sure you're weather aware and have your forecast and weather apps out just in case. That's the weather. Back to you.
Thanks, Kennedy. As we mentioned earlier, the Texas Tech softball team made history this weekend and hopes to do the same in the coming weeks. But they aren't the only group of Red Raiders hoping to finish up their seasons with more than just a Big 12 trophy.
MCTV's Nathan Boles joins us again with details on both of the teams, along with the details on some other Texas Tech athletes who are headed to the next level in sports. Nathan?
Thanks, Luke and Reese. Red Raider softball is so far ahead of the rest of the Big 12 that they already won it and they still have an entire series left. Let's start off the highlights with Game 1 on Saturday, as this game is actually supposed to be Friday but delayed due to thunderstorms. We'll pick it up top of the first where Texas Tech catches Arizona stealing. Alexa Langelier's there to catch it from Victoria Valdez. Now bottom of the third, Tech already up 1-0. It's Bailey Lindemuth who drives in Haley Toney to go up 2-0 and now up 4-0. Alana Johnson with a home run, her 7th of the year, and that puts Texas Tech up 6-0. And now Demi Elder, bottom of the 5th, you saw it earlier, the 3-run walk-off run rule homer to give Texas Tech the 9-0 win. Now go on to Game 2. Chloe Riaceto and Nigeri Kennedy both pitched really well in these two games. Strikeout there from Riaceto. We go to the bottom of the first, and it looked like Texas Tech, the offense was just going to keep going as Maya Davis goes all the way at third. She slides in. Arizona State missed a tag, and that's a triple. Look at the replay here, and looks like Arizona State did miss a tag. Commentators were saying maybe on the fingertips, but it looked like ultimately Davis was safe. But they do take a look, and they end up calling her out. And Jerry Glasgow is not happy, to say the least. Starts ripping into the umpires on this one to a point it almost started to look like maybe he was trying to get ejected, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So he decided to go ahead and keep going at him right before he left. Ended up getting the Texas Tech crowd fired up, but got the team fired up as well as Victoria Valdez gets the crowd going with "You're out of here" sign. But that was pretty much all the action for a while. Bottom of the 5th, Arizona State gets out of a bases-loaded jam with a strikeout, but they're not able to do that in the bottom of the 6th. Bases loaded again for Texas Tech, and that one is by Reagan Jennings. Has a single to get Texas Tech up 1-0, and then Victoria Valdez, a 2 RBI single. Demi Elder called safe. Texas Tech up 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th, and here's Nigeri Kennedy, the reigning National Player of the Year. Gets a strikeout on the last out to win the game for Texas Tech and give them sole possession of the Big 12 title. Game 3 on Sunday did not go as planned for Texas Tech. Victoria Valdez with an RBI single there in the bottom of the 2nd, but A.J. Murphy solo home run in the top of the 4th as Arizona State up 4-2, and they carry that on to a 7-3 victory on Sunday. Although the series didn't end the way they wanted it to, Texas Tech still comes out of it as Big 12 champions. It's hard to fathom that Texas Tech is a Big 12 champion. They had not had a winning season in Big 12 play since 2012 when they went 13-10 in conference. Before this year, Tech's best Big 12 finish was a tie for 3rd in 2001. A lot has changed in the Big 12 in the years since, and the Red Raiders stepped up to the moment. They still have a lot to play for. Tech looks like they could host a regional in mid-May, but it is not guaranteed at this point. There is one more game in Lubbock that is guaranteed. They'll play Abilene Christian tomorrow at 6 at Rocky Johnson Field before traveling to BYU this weekend. Another Big 12 champion, Texas Tech women's tennis, found out what their NCAA tournament is going to look like today.
How about the 11 seed Texas Tech? The Lady Raiders Big 12 tournament champs, 2nd tournament title and the 1st since 2017.
As expected, Texas Tech will host a regional at the McLeod Tennis Center starting Friday. This is what their bracket looks like for the weekend. The Red Raiders won the Big 12 regular season and Big 12 tournament title this season. Both of those were their first since 2017. With a 22-2 record, they're guaranteed to have the best winning percentage in program history, beating the 83.3 winning percentage they had in 1987 when they went 20-4. The Red Raiders haven't lost an overall match since March 14th when they took their lone Big 12 loss to TCU. For this weekend's regional schedule, find Texas Tech women's tennis on social media. 2 Red Raiders put 5 hard years into Texas Tech football, and they were rewarded with hearing their name called at the NFL draft last weekend. Caleb Rogers went late in the 3rd round to the Las Vegas Raiders with the 98th overall pick. Rogers actually joins Tyree Wilson, who was a top 10 pick out of Tech in 2023. Rogers played 5 years and made 55 starts on the offensive line. Most of them were at right tackle, although he also played over a year at left tackle and made 3 starts as a guard. He is projected to be a guard at the NFL level. Fits here that I can do this. Taj Brooks also got drafted, going on day 3 in the 6th round of the Cincinnati Bengals. Brooks had 4,557 rushing yards in 56 career games and 34 starts, including over 1,500 yards each of the last 2 seasons. The all-time Texas Tech leader in rushing yards will now have a chance to prove himself at the NFL level. 5 other Red Raiders were signed to deals or received camp invites after the NFL draft. Tight end Jalen Conyers was signed by the Miami Dolphins. Wide receiver Josh Kelly was signed by the Dallas Cowboys, and cornerback Braylon Lux will join Taj Brooks in Cincinnati. Defensive back C.J. Baskerville got a camp invite from the Denver Broncos, and tight end Mason Tharp is going to his hometown team after getting a camp invite from the Houston Texans. For the current Texas Tech football team, a couple additions were made, with one being a very familiar face. Micah Hudson announced on social media that he is coming back to, quote, finish what he started, end quote. Hudson was Tech's first 5-star recruit in program history, but was injured for part of his freshman season and did not play as much as some thought. He transferred to Texas A&M after the season, but then he left the team shortly afterward and re-entered the transfer portal. He joined center Cash Cleveland, who signed with Texas Tech on Friday from Colorado. Cleveland started the final 4 games for the Buffaloes at center. He played 68 snaps against Texas Tech before he got his first start against Utah the week after. Cleveland was named a freshman All-American and has 3 seasons of eligibility remaining. Both players add to what is already the top transfer class in the nation. That's all we got for sports. Back to you, Reese and Luke.
Thanks, Nathan. So, Luke, did you brave the weather and go watch any of the teams this weekend?
I did not watch any of the teams, but I was completely locked in on the draft. I'm very happy for Taj Brooks, and my Cleveland Browns took a chance on Shedeur Sanders. How about you?
I did not want to be in the rain this weekend, so I hunkered down at home.
Understandable.
That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see y'all on Thursday.